So quick disclaimer before we begin, I'm gonna sound very off in this video, and that's mainly due to the fact that I'm currently recovering from being sick for the last week and a half. You know that thing that got everybody sick like a couple years ago? Yeah, well, I had it, and it was awful. I had a feeling I was gonna get like a comment or two asking why I sound so miserable and depressed in this video, so I'm just making it clear right now. I was sick for a week and a half, I'm now recovering, and that's why I sound like I smoked like a pack of cigarettes a day for 48 years. And this is why I sound like Dr. Mrs. the Monarch. Anyways, I wanted to talk about the lost Call of Duty game. Well, not so much lost anymore as of recently, but over a decade ago, there was a futuristic Call of Duty game in development that was quietly scrapped. The game was titled NX1, or Future Warfare, according to the in-game menu of the new leaked gameplay. Or I guess I shouldn't say new anymore. Look, I was supposed to have this video out like a week and a half ago, and then Dr. Mrs. the Monarch decided to pay me a visit. Anyways, NX1 was being developed by the now defunct studio Neversoft, the team behind Guitar Hero and the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. So how long ago was this game in development? Why did Activision scrap it? And why are we only now receiving information about it? Well, believe it or not, the title, Call of Duty Future Warfare, has been public information for over a decade, specifically as far back as 2010. On May 15th, 2010, Escapist Magazine listed a bunch of new trademarks filed by Activision, and these trademarks included titles like Call of Duty Future Warfare.com, Advanced Warfare.com, Secret Warfare.com, and sequels for these projects as well. Now obviously, out of the bunch, Advanced Warfare, led by Sledgehammer Games, was the only title to come to fruition, while Secret Warfare never became a game. However, Future Warfare was on the table for a brief period. According to a Twitter user named Brian Bright, who happens to be a former developer, Neversoft pivoted from Guitar Hero to develop Future Warfare for 2013 after the Infinity Ward implosion, which resulted in Vince Zampella and Jason West being fired by Activision, half of the IW staff quitting and forming Respawn Entertainment, and Sledgehammer Games helping the remainder of IW work on Modern Warfare 3 for 2011. Besides some work on Modern Warfare 3, Neversoft never worked on a Call of Duty project before. Future Warfare was the studio's first crack at a mainline Call of Duty game, so the devs got to work on learning the IW engine. According to Brian, the game was supposed to be set 30 to 70 years into the future, would have allegedly released in 2013, and would have introduced exosuits with perks acting as hardware, along with the first introduction of clan wars titled The Emergent War, railguns, and more. 2 to 3 missions were completed along with a bunch of multiplayer assets before the project was canned by Activision. This decision resulted in Neversoft working with the remainder of Infinity Ward on Call of Duty Ghosts. Yeah, yikes. But back to NX1 itself, the only leaked campaign gameplay from this scrapped project was from a mission titled Moonbase Assault. This mission takes place on the Mon Malaport station and follows SPC Walker as he navigates through the moonbase as it's being overrun by enemies. There are patches or sealants scattered throughout the mission and seem to act as a form of self-heal. The weapons appear to be pretty futuristic as well. Of course, with this mission taking place on the moon, there are zero-gravity sections where the player flies across the moon's surface. What's kind of interesting is some parts of the moon base itself really remind me of the Treyarch Zombies map Moon. What I also noticed is that there are a few similarities between NX1 and Ghosts. For example, the last name of the protagonist in the mission is Walker, which is the same last name for the Ghosts characters Logan, David, and Elias. Could just be a coincidence though. There's also the obvious Infinite Warfare comparisons, which if I'm being honest, wouldn't surprise me if Infinity Ward took a lot of inspiration from Future Warfare while developing their futuristic game, especially since some IW staff at the time were former Neversoft developers. As for the rest of the missions, while there isn't any gameplay, some of the names or perhaps placeholder names are visible on the mission select screen. Those names include Border, Visiting Hours, Into the Fire, Winter Anvil, Descent, Hit Hard at Home, and Operation Deadbolt, which, funny enough, is the name for Modern Warfare 3 2023 Zombies. Additionally, Operation Deadbolt was also mentioned in one of Rourke's files in Ghosts. What's also really interesting, but might totally just be a coincidence, is that the special weapon on the Ghosts extinction map Exodus is called the NX-1 Disruptor. Gee, I wonder if that's code for Activision disrupted the process of NX-1. So besides the campaign, there was also some multiplayer gameplay uploaded to Twitter by a user named CatGirlfriend, which takes place on an unfinished map dubbed Sandstorm. According to Brian, Neversoft didn't have much of an art team on multiplayer at the time, so the level designers used Modern Warfare 2 2009 assets. This particular map allowed for escort mode gameplay, where teams would push a large UGV through the map's checkpoints. The UGV also had a trophy system on it. Brian also mentioned another escort map titled Galleria from one of his tweets, which he remembers having the best escort gameplay. There was also a leaked map list for multiplayer, but according to Brian, most of them were test maps, and about 4 of them were fleshed out in standard modes. God, I truly miss the old Call of Duty UI. There was something really magical about being able to easily navigate the in-game menu without having a stroke. Personally, I think my favorite UI from any Call of Duty game is BO3's, because I, or anyone else for that matter, wasn't waiting like an hour for each section of the game to load. But at the same time, these old IW4 and 5 menus were so simplistic, easy to follow, and they're just nostalgic. When I look at modern Call of Duty UIs like Modern Warfare 3 2023's, I just want to vomit from how complex it is. I get very angry looking at this UI. I get more sweaty trying to navigate the UI than I do playing multiplayer, and that says a lot because modern Call of Duty skill-based matchmaking is just horrendous. Anyways, the date of the Moonbase Assault build for NX-1 was December 18th, 2011, so this was right after the Modern Warfare 3 release. So sometime between this date and the release of Ghosts, which was late 2013, Neversoft's title was cancelled by Activision, and the studio instead lent a hand in helping Infinity Ward finish Ghosts. Then it was reported that in May of 2014, Neversoft and Infinity Ward merged into one single studio. Then Neversoft was officially defunct just a few months later, and the trademarks for Future Warfare and Call of Duty Future Warfare were eventually abandoned. It's just insane to imagine that there was once a Call of Duty title being developed right under our noses, and it only took just until a week or two ago, or longer because again, I'm sick, for gameplay to finally be released. Although, according to a Twitter user named the Nathan NS, there was allegedly an image posted on Reddit which shows a Craigslist listing from 2012 featuring an old Xbox with a build of NX-1. So for 12 years or so, someone allegedly had access to NX-1 and gameplay only now just leaked, which is just insane. It really makes me wonder what other Call of Duty games were in development before being scrapped and if gameplay for those titles exists. Like, I was already pretty curious about the famous Sledgehammer Games third-person Vietnam Call of Duty that was in development before being scrapped, but maybe there are more unknown titles like Future Warfare. And it also begs the questions, what if NX-1 released instead of Ghosts? Would the franchise be in a much better position now because of that, or not? I know in recent years, Ghosts has become a cult classic, with many people in the community revisiting the game and coming to the conclusion that it wasn't as bad as reviews and content creators made it out to be at the time. To be honest, I wasn't a big fan of the game when it first came out either, especially after coming down from the Black Ops 2 hype. And even now, I still don't think it's a perfect game. But compared to more recent Call of Duties like Modern Warfare 2 2022, which is a game I openly and actively continue to bash for how awful it was, Ghosts was alright. The campaign concept was really interesting to me, Extinction was very unique, and multiplayer was pretty innovative. Like, that game introduced sliding and mantling and also destructive environments. I don't personally know if NX-1 would have been more successful had it been released in 2013 instead of Ghosts, but at least from my perspective, I believe deep down my younger self would have been happy with it. I personally just enjoy sci-fi, semi-futuristic first-person shooters, which is probably why I love BO2 and 3 so much, and games like Cyberpunk. Although I don't know how the community would have felt had NX-1 released followed by Advanced Warfare, BO3, and Infinite Warfare back to back. I know damn well a majority of the community was over the advanced movement and futuristic setting of Call of Duty after having so many of those games year after year, which is ultimately why Infinite Warfare got dunked on constantly. So adding one more futuristic title to that advanced movement era of Call of Duty probably would have made people scream and riot. Then again, there's always the chance that in the NX1 timeline where the game did release, maybe Infinity Ward and potentially Treyarch would have altered their 2015 and 2016 titles prior to release if the backlash from the community regarding futuristic CODs came sooner. But maybe NX1 would have been a solid entry into franchise too. I guess we'll never really know. Or if you want to be that person, you could just say, Infinite Warfare is NX1. And to that I say, yeah, probably. Again, if you want to be technical, they were made by the same studio, kinda. As I said previously, Neversoft merged with IW in 2014, and that's when they started working on Infinite Warfare. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if the team took a lot of concepts and ideas from Future Warfare and applied it to Infinite Warfare. But either way, wow, what a story, Mark. In conclusion, Neversoft's Future Warfare, or NX1, may have not become a full premium Call of Duty title, but it sure piqued the interests of many players around the world for the last couple of weeks. Anyways, let me know how you guys feel about NX1 in the comments. Would you have been happy if this project released in place of Ghosts? I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say regarding this scrapped title. Before I leave you to go back to your normal lives, I just want to let you know that I'm still actively working on the Modern Warfare 2 2009 Iceberg, and I promise you guys I will not sound like a smoker during that entire video. At least I hope I won't. Anyways, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new around here. Click the bell icon to be notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. Follow me on all of my social links like Twitter and Instagram, and join my Discord server. All links in the bio below. Have a great day, everyone, and please remember to never go to a nightclub and not wash your hands, because otherwise you're going to end up like this and it's just not fun. And before anybody says anything, there was no soap in the men's room. It was disgusting. It was like a zoo. Animals, man.